There's a lot to get into. As you see down there at the bottom, we are going to talk about the New York Knicks. I've been asked via text, via DM, man, when are you going to talk about the Knicks, man? I know you're trying to duck it. Don't, because I am Chief Nick Hater #1 if you're unfamiliar with the content I've been putting out on social media. But yes, I am Nick Hater, Chief Nick Hater #1. So when the Knicks do well, it doesn't sit right with me, only because I have had to endure living here in the tri-state, whether it's New York or New Jersey. I've had to endure Knicks fans and their delusions for the bulk of my entire lifetime. So whenever the Knicks do well, it's always fool's gold to me. But the Knicks are allegedly good again. They're sitting at the 5 seed. But, you know, this is going to become a thing of, will I give in? Will I cave? And there's a lot to figure out in regards to how exactly good this Knicks team is. They're extremely hot. You can say they're the hottest team in the league, and that's what we're trying to figure out. So let's go ahead and start. Waiting for some people to pull up. I'm sure they'll set the notification out on the Elon app. Not even sure if it went through because I don't know what's going on with Elon over there, but you know, Elon is doing Elon things. We shall see, but let me just do one last quick check to make sure everything that was supposed to be sent is sent. Yep, everything, all notifications went through. Okay, so let's start. The Knicks are hot. How hot are the Knicks? That remains to be seen. But in regards to where we stand here, 39-27, sitting at the 5 seed. Let's go ahead and jump into the screen, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the screen. So at 39-27, your New York Knickerbockers are the hottest team in the league. There's no doubt about it. There is something going on there with the Knicks. But do we need to take them seriously? How good are they? That's something I've been asked a lot, is like, well, how good are the Knicks? Because we saw what happened a couple of seasons ago. They made it to the 4th seed, and everyone was so hyped up about what they could be, what they were trying to be, what they were looking like in terms of how efficient, how effective the energy was alive back in the Mecca. Hell, they were having pep rallies after wins. And then they had that one win against the Hawks in the first round of the playoffs, and you would have thought that was a chip. But the sad part is, to Knicks fans, that kind of was a chip. That's kind of how it's been over at least the last 20 years. Minimum. We could go longer. We know they haven't won a chip in about 50-something years. But in regards to how it is to be a Knicks fan, how it feels to be a Knicks fan, it is, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. So this team, this current group of New York Knicks, there's been a lot brought in. There's been a lot of things brought up to speed, things brought into focus. And look, Tom Thibodeau's the coach. I am not a Tom Thibodeau fan. He is a meniscus tearing taskmaster as a coach, but he does get the most out of his players for a very small window. And he just gets fan bases enamored. He did it with Boston, even though he wasn't the lead guy there. Doc Rivers was the lead guy there, but as the assistant coach, one of his lead assistants, being able to go in there and coach up the defense and come up with this philosophy and use Kevin Garnett and use Kendrick Perkins and get those guys going to get that one chip that they got off in Boston, he has been able to ride the success of that one chip very far. He went to Chicago, got a team that was, you know, that wasn't really that talented, but he was able to scheme them up. Talent them up, get them to just commit maximum effort every game. And it worked. It's instant results because the regular season of basketball is something where not a lot of teams, or teams that are, I won't say out the mix, but teams that are just mid, you know what I'm saying? Like the definition of parity type teams, those teams aren't taking every single game seriously in the regular season. So what Thibodeau does, the way that he finds those creases in the margin, is, okay, I'm going to get a group of semi-talented guys and just make them go balls to the wall every single game. The whole narrative of you got to give 100%, 110%. No, Tibbs actually is able to tap in and find players that will obviously do that for him. And once you have a good rotation of 8, 9 guys all willing to commit to go that hard, pause, and go run off the games and play tough and dive on the floor and outwork other teams, out effort other teams. That matters in the NBA. So that's his trick. As much as people thought it was his defensive playbook and his way to coach up defense, which if you pay attention, where are the Knicks? The Knicks are middle of the pack defensively. They are 14th in defensive rating. So that is like damn near the middle of the pack, right? Where were they last year? Okay, they were 11th the year before. The year before that, they were third. That 1 year against the Hawks, they were third. And then as you see here, they got here. So this is why sometimes metrics and things of that nature. But I think, look this here, though. That pace. Next to last. It was dead last 2 years ago when they made the playoffs. It was next to last year. This year, where is it? 27th out of 30th. So here's where if you get caught up in what analytics are and what they mean, you can always cherry pick statistics to prove whatever point you're trying to make. You see that a lot on the four-letter network. You see it a lot on the timeline. Like, people would just keep pushing narratives. The Knicks are middle of the pack when it comes to offense, 12 out of 30. You're closer to 15 than you are to being at least top 5 for the upper half. So you're middle of the road offensively in terms of points scored. You're top 10 in opponents' points per game. Now you're looking at pace, though. And this is where you kind of get confused. If you're not watching the games and you just go off of this right here, like if you haven't really checked in with the Knicks and haven't really paid attention to their games, you can just go right here. Like, oh, well, they're solid defensively. You know, they have a good offensive rating, 5th in the NBA. So somehow a team that is third from the bottom in terms of pace is now top 5 in offensive rating. That normally doesn't correlate. So where is this coming from? Look, the Knicks have had this current iteration of the Knicks in a way is the problem is not talent. Now the problem is talent on the top tier. Because as good as this Knicks run has been, it's been good. I mean, look at who they beat. Utah, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is being pesky, with Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas, those guys. The Phoenix guys has come over there and have flourished right away. They've settled in right away. The Hawks, I mean, it's Trae Young, so to me that's not that big of a win. You're taking care of teams you're supposed to, like the Wizards. The Pels are injured. But getting these 2 dubs against Boston, that means something. Getting a win against the Heat, even though I think the Heat are severely overrated. And if you've been paying attention to what Jimmy Butler's been saying a lot of cryptic things in the media. And I don't know if, they finally announced Udonis Haslem is walking away, finally. 20-year career, and I can't remember the last time he's played significant minutes. But in regards to the Miami Heat thing, they're just a name at this point. You're still living off the promise of years before. And yes, they were a shot away last year getting to the conference finals. And then year before that, they were actually in the finals. But in terms of taking them serious, like when it's not a bubble year, no. When Bam Adebayo and or Jimmy Butler's your best player, you're not going to go that far. And I know that may strike some people a certain way, but that's just what it is in today's NBA. You're just not going to get that far. When it comes to the Knicks, though, the Nets here, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics. Now, it took two overtimes to do it, and I don't want to poo-poo the fact that they beat the Celtics. And, Randall has really showed me something in regards to, I know the game will be made about quickly, and you can't look past 38, especially with no Brunson. But in regards to what Julius Randle has kind of turned himself into, this was a guy who was never thought to be a number one option kind of guy, at least not a number one on a really good team, right? So when you're looking past what Julius Randle's been able to do, in years past, he's kind of floated. He could get hot. He's been very streaky, but he's been way more consistent this year in terms of giving him the ball, making sure he gets his touches. He can still be erratic defensively. I'm not about to sit here and say he's turned a complete 180 and now he's a complete player. He is still mostly an offensively dominated player, and he's a guy that maybe against top tier comp. And I know this Boston thing is one sample size, but against top tier comp, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get off consistently against those teams. As great as the Knicks have looked in this streak and just in the season overall, I'm not sure if I still trust that the Knicks can go up against the Bucks, and I would still say Boston, even though they got, two of these wins in the win streak against Boston. I still don't know if I could trust them in a 7-game series. A 7-game series is different. And in the regular season, you just want to show consistency, right? We can go up against top tier teams and be competitive and win. And the Knicks have shown that they can do that by and large. But when it comes to a 7-game series where you have to beat a team 4 out of 7 times, it's different. The stakes are raised. Because you could argue, I heard a lot of narratives last night into this morning of this Knicks team is better than the team that was a 4 seed a couple of seasons ago. Sure. If you want to get that off, great. But this team is certainly more talented than a team 2 years ago. I'll give you that. They're certainly more talented. But are they necessarily better? I'm not sure. Because Jalen Brunson, as great as he is, and, everyone's like, oh, everyone's got to fall back on, people got to say that, got to apologize if you were chastising the signing. It wasn't about Jalen Brunson getting the bag from the Knicks. It was, if you're trying to legitimately win a championship, having either or Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle as your number one, that's not going to get it done against the upper crust in the East. It's just not. You might be able to go 6 games with the Bucks and feel good about yourself when you're done, but are you any closer to a Larry O.B.? And there's been a lot of speculation in regards to, well, now since the Knicks didn't have to jump out the window and give up all the picks for Donovan Mitchell, that now with Brunson and Randall, and if you want to throw quickly in there, even though that this is spot duty, if you want to continue to believe in what R.J. Barrett is, I'm gone on that. I'm good on that. Y'all can have R.J. Barrett, despite what he did last night. But if you can take what you're seeing with this Knicks roster as it stands right now, and then position forward, there's been a lot of speculation of, oh, well, the next superstar who's disgruntled, they're now going to want to be a Knick. And one of those names that was brought up and, had the CMD podcast earlier in the year. And if you're not familiar with the CMD podcast, check for that in the description. By the way, if you're pulling up and you're checking it out, go ahead and hit that like button. It lets the algorithm know that I'm actually doing good content over here. So just go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you. So when it comes right down to it, like, who's going to be that superstar to come to New York? I was being told about Anthony Davis. I was told about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Any available superstar. And look, all you got to do is cruise to the timeline and you can see all types of, every superstar for the last 15 years has been photoshopped in a Knicks uniform. You could just go down and just pick any superstar and just put in Knicks and look for the Photoshop and it's there. No matter who it is. I'm surprised. Maybe not Jokic. Jokic might be the only one I don't think I've ever seen him Photoshop in a Knicks uniform. If you have, send it. I need to see that. That would probably look hilarious with all the slices on his arms. And dude gets sliced up every game. He's cutting. He's bleeding all over the place. Good thing he don't have the... So... once we get to this here, this Knicks roster going forward, I don't think they're going to win a championship this year. I don't even think Knicks fans think they're going to win a championship this year. But what is success? You clearly have to advance past the first round, right? If you're talking about this team in any sort of seriousness, you have to get past the first round. And as they stand right now, they're playing Cleveland. Are you confident, if you're a Knicks fan, that this team, as constituted right now, can go up against Cleveland, and wouldn't that be, prophetic? You're playing against a guy that, was allegedly destined to be a Knick for all these years because of the fact that, he's riding with CAA, and the fact is, with the Knicks front office being a CAA hotbed, including the coaching staff, including players, it was a done deal that they're going to get Donovan. So if you're a Knicks fan, 4-5 matchup, you have to beat Cleveland, right? for this season to be a success. If you go 7 games and lose, you're still gone in the first round like you were 2 seasons ago. Is that type of incremental success really what we're going for here if you're a Knicks fan? Is that what you're aiming for? Because I don't think that's it. I think it has to be second round. As much as they're being hyped up right now, as much as, because you look at this bottom half, they're better than the Nets. Right now, they're better than the Heat. They're definitely better than the Hawks. Like, they're better than all these teams. Like, the East stops in terms of teams that can actually compete for a conference finals like appearance. It stops at the Knicks. They're the last team. I don't have any faith in any of these teams after them as teams that can actually win more than one round. The Knicks can win more than one round, especially if they get Cleveland. If they can stand pat and hold on for dear life, because the Nets are not as trash as I thought they were going to be. I'm not here to shade Mikal Bridges. I just thought in terms of how they were going to play out the year, I thought it was going to be more about seeing guys on this roster who haven't been hooping. But no, they're still trying to win games. And I'm not mad at that. And this roster, with the vets that they have, and the young burgeoning stars that they were able to bring in Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to pair them up with Cam Thomas. And, you still got vets and Joe Harris, Seth Curry. Like, they're still, and, Yuta Watanabe. I mean, they shut down Ben for a reason. I think there's a lot of guys here that are able to put forth, and Finney Smith, can't sleep on him. Finney Smith is a hooper. So the Nets aren't as bad on paper. And you can't forget Dinwiddie, obviously, but you can't really sleep on the Nets just because there's too many vets who are bona fide hoopers. You can't sleep on them. So it's going to be interesting to see what does Knicks' success look like this season? What does it look like? Does it have to be second round? Or is it just be way more competitive than you were against the Hawks a few seasons ago? Let me know in the comments. I think it's a good thing for this franchise that's been dormant for so long to at least have a glimmer of hope. Now, it's the meniscus tearing taskmaster, so I'm not going to put too much stock into it. They're definitely never going to win a championship with him as the head coach. You can quote me right now. They will never, and I mean never, win a championship with the meniscus tearing taskmaster as their head coach. Okay, go ahead and clip that. Do whatever you got to do with it, but it's never going to happen. So the Knicks are a hot team. The Knicks are building, trying to rebuild the energy from a few seasons ago where they let the whole fan base, the whole city, the whole tri-state down with getting wiped out of here by Trae Young taking bows at the Mecca. So we will wait and see what we get there. But in regards to the Knicks, cool story, bro. I'll be right here to track it. So moving on. Derek Carr, allegedly, kinda, sorta, has agreed to sign with the New Orleans Saints. And let's go back to the screen here. All right. The Saints are signing free agent quarterback Derek Carr. You see it there. Trying to navigate how we're going to get this done, but the Saints are closing in on the deal with Derek Carr. After 9 seasons with the Raiders, the 4-time Pro Bowl selection is headed to New Orleans. So this is a thing of the Jets are waiting on Aaron Rodgers. This is a sign because the Jets were the front runner for allegedly both quarterbacks. The Jets had made inroads with Derek Carr and were thought to be in position to sign him if they wanted to. And there was even some reporting saying that, hey, Derek Carr wants to be a Jet. But if you're going to make him wait while the Jets wait on word from Aaron Rodgers and then the Packers and figuring out whatever compensation is going to be, then yeah, if I'm Derek Carr, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to wait on that. Especially when you're trying to get 35 M's. Because he's been trying to get 35 M's. Now I wonder, do we have the figures of how much money he's going to get? Do we know how much bread? No financial terms yet, I'm assuming. I don't want to get into the Elon app right now because there's a lot of stuff going on. But let's see, maybe this link. Nope. See, there's some stuff going on here with the Elon app on the web. On the phone, it still looks to be solid. But in regards to the desktop version, something's going on. Somebody hit a button. So Derek Carr, as a Saint, that's not the greatest look for him, although they have weapons. I will say that. If we're talking about what the Saints can look like going forward, I actually do like the core of their team. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick. Let's see what we can get here. Saints roster. Okay, we'll go to... Nah, they're going to make you pay for that. All right, let's see what Fox is doing. Oh, I don't like how this looks. Stand by. All right, let's see. Okay, so you're walking in terms of Alvin Kamara. We're not sure what's going to happen there, right? Because there's some things going on off the field that are very concerning, but we'll assume Alvin Kamara will be there when Derek Carr is under center week 1. But when you look at this receiving core, the world found out about Olave. I really like Shaheed. Shaheed, to me, and paired him with Callaway, maybe now this can get Callaway going, but there's some receivers here. So if you have Kamara with Olave and Shaheed, and then, I guess the whole Michael Thomas thing, I don't know. I wouldn't put too much stock in that. But, Juwan Johnson was okay. Like, this offense isn't bad now. Derek Carr, the enigma that he is in terms of, is he top 10? Is he, where does he rank? It really just comes down to, can you be good enough to give our skill players the rock? Can you be good enough to get them the rock continuously? Because that's the role he has. You're not expecting Derek Carr to go out and win you a game. And that's something that the Raiders tossed and turned with over the entirety of his tenure there. Now he's going to go to a spot where I would hope Dennis Smith and all of them over there telling him, look, you're not here to lead us. Okay? You're not here to lead us, because we've seen how that's worked. Okay? No offense. But we think with the skill players we have here, just get the ball out. Your job is to get the ball out, bar none. That's it. We're not expecting you to be a franchise QB. Now, we may have to pay you like a franchise QB, but we're not putting the expectations on you of a franchise QB. So I think Derek Carr is a good check down from the Jets, even though I think the Jets have the better skill set guys at this point. But I do like the fact that he gets to slide in there. And then that division, that division is mid, okay? That division is mid. That NFC South is super, super mid. Let's see if we could pull that up here. Do they have schedules out yet? I don't think they got schedules out yet. Yeah, they don't have schedules out yet. But in regards to that division, which we know is... why does it keep taking me there? Okay, their website's a little janky today, too. Everyone's website is janky today. What's going on? Is there something going on that we're not aware of? Anywho, so there's no financials here, right? No financials. But anyway, we know that division. You have the Falcons, who may or may not be in the mix for Lamar. Then you have the Panthers, who we are assuming are going to be in the QB mix, and allegedly they're in the Aaron Rodgers mix. And then you had the Buccaneers, who just lost Tom Brady, we think. So that division's wide open. That division's for the taking. So now that you have Derek Carr, a competent QB, again, not a franchise QB, not a star QB, not a top tier QB, but a good enough QB to get the ball out to skill set guys like a Kamara, like a Callaway, like a Olave. Now I think with the Juwan Johnson as well mixed in there, now I think, okay, your job is just to get the rock out. That division could be for the taking, because the Saints defense is not horrible. They battled a lot of injuries, assuming they'll be somewhat healthy. And again, you never know what they do in the draft in terms of who they may try to go pick up. I think the Saints are a good check down from the Jets if I'm Derek Carr. I am not too mad at that. I am not too mad at that if I'm Derek Carr, because I think waiting on the Jets means that you're clearly their second option. And why would you do that when there's plenty of other teams that need a quarterback? There's so many other teams that could use a Derek Carr. That Derek Carr is an upgrade for them. Why not? Why not just go and take the bag from the Saints? Take the bag from the Saints. I mean, it ain't Vegas, but New Orleans ain't that far from that. So either way, I know he's not on that type of time. I get it, but I'm just saying, in terms of cities, Vegas, New Orleans, not that far off. Any other NFL news we got to jump into? Let's see if we can figure some out here on the fly. There's a lot here. Derrick Henry may actually be on the trade block. Okay, do you care about that? I mean, isn't this the last year of his deal? Okay, so according to Michael Silver, Derrick Henry, Jalen Ramsey, and DeAndre Hopkins are among the players who've been shopped in recent days. So this goes to something I brought up last week on the stream, is that since everyone was at the combine, and that's executives, that's scouts, that's trainers, that's front office people, there's going to be a lot of conversations about who's available, who looked good, who's on the way out, who's on the way in. There's going to be a lot of tea that's just going to come like falling from the sky because of all the teams. All the 32 teams were in Indianapolis at the combine. So there's a lot of mixing, a lot of mingling. So it's not a surprise that after the combine, this is what we're getting, that Derrick Henry, Jalen Ramsey, and DeAndre Hopkins are players that have been shopped. I'm sure there's been way more than just that, but with the reporting, this is where we're at right now. And I just think, one, DeAndre Hopkins, yeah, I think he's certainly available, and I think he has value left. If you're willing to give up Derrick Henry, if the Titans are willing to give him up, and they have a whole new front office, right? Except for a head coach, they were able to hang on to your man's Vrabel. But if you're going to give up Derrick Henry, what's a realistic expectation for what you're going to get back? You're not going to get a first-round pick back for Derrick Henry. I wouldn't think. In 2023, I don't think you're getting a first-round pick back. So are you looking for, what, a second and a fourth? Would you even be willing to do that? Would you give up a second and a fourth either this year or next year for Derrick Henry? Or am I bugging? Is Derrick Henry's value still that high that is he a first and a second? I don't think he is, but, especially in today's NFL. And Jalen Ramsey, I don't know what you asked for him. Well, what did they get for Minka Fitzpatrick? Let's see if we can figure out that trade package, because that was a pretty different, sizable. Let's see, Minka Fitzpatrick trade. First round pick, 7th. So a first and a 7th? Was that it? Let's see. All right. Dolphins traded him to the Steelers along with the 4th. So they sent him and a 4th and a 7th. And they got a 1st and a 5th. A 1st, a 5th, and a 6th. I don't know if you're doing that. I don't know if I'm giving up a 1st, a 5th, and a 6th for Jalen Ramsey. Let me know in the comments. Would you give up a 1st, a 5th, and a 6th for Jalen Ramsey? Now, Hopkins, I think, because of the way the NFL is and because it's about the pass offense and making surrounding your QBs with a lot of help. I mean, low-key, the Bears should be interested, but it's the Bears. New regime and all. I got too much PTSD. Still the Bears. They'll find a way to trick that off. But DeAndre Hopkins can help a lot of teams. I mean, look, Baltimore, and I think this is something I spoke about on the Elon app months ago. If you want Lamar to take less than what he should get, then I would make it a prereq that you have to go get me DeAndre Hopkins. Like, that's what it would take. You don't want me to ask for 300. You don't want me to ask for 250. You don't want to give me Deshaun Watson guaranteed money. Okay, well then here's the deal. I will take less guaranteed money, but I need to have a number one receiver signed and in the building before I sign my contract. Because don't go off the promise. They'll lie to you. I mean, didn't the Packers lied to Aaron Rodgers, right? The Packers lied to Aaron Rodgers. They said they were going to trade him. Where was it? Was it the Vikings? Yeah, they said before the Packers lied to Brett Favre. They said, where do you want to go? And I think it was Minnesota and or the Jets. And he's like, okay, which one do you prefer? And I think he said the Vikings. So like, okay. And then they sent him to the Jets. So, I mean, like, you don't want to put yourself in that position, right? To where a team can lie to you. If you want me to sign and take less money, I need a bona fide number one receiver here in the fold before I do that. Now, that's a negotiation. If you want me to come off the firm stance that the NFLPA is backing me on, that you deserve to get the same type of money, if not more, than Deshaun Watson. You want me to fall back off that? Okay, here's what it's going to take. You want me to accept some funny money, some incentives that I'll never hit? Cool. For that, to make my job easier, because I'm not going to take less money than I deserve and still have the same hard-ass job. So what y'all are going to have to do is make my job easier for me to openly accept less than what my market value is. So if that's the case, then okay, go get me DeAndre Hopkins. And I will not ask and keep asking for, allegedly, fully guaranteed money along the same lines as Deshaun Watson. That's how that needs to go. You want me to take less? Then make my job easier. Stop playing with me. But it's the NFL, and the religion of football is a little different than how it is out here in the real world when it comes to just, people working regular 9-to-5 gigs. So we shall see. But I think in regards to these three players, Derrick Henry, Jalen Ramsey, DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think either of them move the needle unless DeAndre goes to the right quarterback. If he now gives a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of help, he now becomes a bona fide number one guy, and that's huge. That's the biggest upside, is bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think Jalen Ramsey, he's a number one corner. Is he a lockdown corner? I mean, we know what happened in the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago, right? I mean, Chase was open. Just saying. So I don't know if I would go all in thinking that putting Jalen, he's still a top tier corner. Let's not get that twisted. Still a top tier corner, but in the essence of shutdown, lockdown, can you even be a shutdown corner in today's NFL? I mean, maybe that's another discussion for another day. But you have Derrick Henry, who is playing at a position that is being devalued season by season. You have Jalen Ramsey, where I'm not even sure if it's still capable to be a shutdown receiver in 2023. And then you have DeAndre Hopkins, who is a top-tier receiver in an era where it is the most valuable time to be a receiver, in the era where it's the easiest time to throw. So I think the DeAndre Hopkins, floating him out there as being shopped, I think that one has the most impact in terms of being able to maybe go from a team that's right around 500 to maybe jumping up and making that leap to where you're in the wild card and maybe even competing for a division. Okay, come off the screen here. Let's see, what else can we get into? I mean, the Elon app being down really jammed up all my show prep to keep it a buck with you. So salute to those who have pulled up and checked in. If you have comments, just drop them in there and I'll pull them up and we could definitely chop it up and get into it. So I think what we're looking at here is how often. Well, let's. I know the Lamar thing has kind of been a thing on my channel. There's a clip that's kind of going around, and it's been very polarizing. It's It's been extremely polarizing, and people been in the comments going back and forth, and I appreciate that. And if you haven't tapped into that, go check that in the on the channel. You can just go look that up. But there's a lot there in that Lamar discussion. There's a lot there in terms of there's the report of where they may, and let's see, who may have that? Who may have that? The discussion about the Ravens potentially accepting a lesser tag on Lamar so that they could just get 2 first, and it will make him, he can actually go and shop for a new contract. I would love to get the specifics of that, but the NFL site isn't doing its job. Okay. Let's see what we get here. When we just go. Okay, there we go. Ravens headed towards placing franchise tag on QB on QB Lamar Jackson if no long-term deal is reached. Okay. The next decision for Baltimore. Let me see. They have a lot of audio, auto videos playing on their website. Give me a second to clean this up. Good Lord, they just trying to advertise the hell out of this. All right, here we go. Now that it's cleaned up. Okay, so let's blow this up so we can all read together as a family. Okay, get down there. The next decision for Baltimore within on whether, who edited this? The next decision for Baltimore would then on whether to place the non-exclusive franchise tag or the exclusive franchise tag. The exclusive franchise tag last used in 2021 by the Cowboys on Dak Prescott ensures Jackson cannot negotiate with any other teams in free agency, and it will cost the Ravens around $45 million in 2023. $45 million. Daniel Jones is asking for more than that, FYI. It will cost the Ravens around $45 million in 2023. The average of the top 5 prior year salaries at QB at the conclusion of this offseason restricted free agent signing period on April 21st. So again, that's the average of the top 5 prior year salaries. And Daniel Jones is asking for even more than that. But no one's saying anything. He could just ask for whatever. No one cares. It's not polarizing. It's not, shaking up the timeline. It's not leading the full of the network shows. Like it's not debate fodder. Whatever, man. Should Baltimore decide to use the non-exclusive tag on Jackson, it will cost the team $32.4 million in 2023, and both sides will have until July 17th to reach a long-term deal. Jackson is permitted to negotiate a contract with another team on a non-exclusive tag, and the Ravens would have the right to match the contract or trade Jackson for 2 first-round picks. Okay, this is the important piece right here. So, Lamar can negotiate a contract with another team with this non-exclusive tag, and even if they can't work it out, he'll be a lot less with 32.4 as opposed to the 45 with the exclusive franchise tag. Now, I'm sure there's some ways to move that stuff around in terms of cap numbers and all of that stuff. But in regards to this is the part where I think the Ravens, if they're being honest with themselves, this is the best case scenario. This is the best case. Because you get the non-exclusive tag and let me just come off this thing that says Derek Carr because we're done with Derek Carr. Impromptu Lamar talk, right? So let's say they do this, the non-exclusive tag. Now you're allowed till July to reach a long-term deal. In that meantime, Lamar can go seek a contract from another team. So here's where you could truly see the value. Let's say they do this, right? They're still probably far apart in terms of the Ravens and Lamar Jackson as opposed to what he wants. Now this allows Lamar to go see, can I really go get $250 guaranteed? Can I go get $300 guaranteed? Does anyone want to pay me more than anybody else in regards to fully guaranteed money? And then he could come back to Ravens and say, see, Arthur Blank and them are willing to give me $250. What you want to do? Because that's clearly what this is. I think in all the the cat and mouse in this negotiation process is that the Ravens are banking on that nobody else is going to give Lamar this fully guaranteed money. They want to keep making us and Lamar and future players in this league think that, the Browns jumped so far out the window. Jimmy Haslam and all of them jumped so far out the window that that's an anomaly. That's an outlier. Don't take that serious. We're not changing the way we do business. Oh, word. All it takes is one owner. Deshaun Watson was able to find that one owner, and he spurned Arthur Blank in the process. Don't forget that piece of it. Deshaun was thought to go be a Falcon. Then the Browns had to go and say, you know what, 230 fully guaranteed. Oh, I got to shake. I got to shake over to Cleveland, bro. Left the A to go to Cleveland. Arthur Blank's going to let this happen to him 2 years in a row? Where he can find an answer at a quarterback? He's going to let Lamar walk away? He going to get that 250. You give Arthur Blank a chance to get a do-over from what happened last year? I mean, Desmond Ridder, dog. Come on now. And they have the weapons. We know that. With Drake London and Pitts and all them RBs, good old line, weapons are there. Whether it was Deshaun Watson, nasty man, or whether you can go get Lamar this offseason, that's a huge upgrade and put you in the mix. We just talked about how that division's wide open. That the Saints with Derek Carr are kind of sort of in the mix for being the best in that division already. You're the Falcons. You got spurned by Deshaun Watson because you didn't want to give him the fully guaranteed money that the Browns jumped out the window and gave him. You going to let that happen again? When it's Lamar? You can't let this happen twice. If I'm Arthur Blank, I'm good for it in terms of the bread. Like, we got it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here where we don't want to pay someone that's top tier money? What are we doing? I understand the narrative of the Browns did it. That doesn't mean everyone else should do it. I get it. But you know what? What if that's the future? Okay? What if that's it? If ever there was a position in the NFL to be fully guaranteed in terms of paying exorbitant amounts of money, it would be the quarterback position. This doesn't mean that now all of a sudden centers are going to get guaranteed money. That's not what this means. That doesn't mean place kickers are not going to get fully guaranteed money. That's not what this means. The NFL union would never be that strong. But in regards to if you are going to get fully guaranteed money to a position in football, it would be the quarterback. So why are teams bucking against the notion that, well, we can't give quarterbacks fully guaranteed money? We're not asking you to give, the slot receiver fully guaranteed money. We're not asking you to do that. But we know the emphasis that's been placed on quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is going to get 40 plus M's. Where do you think the market's going? It's going to continue to go up. So if Baltimore is smart, do the non-exclusive, have Lamar go prove that he can go get a fully guaranteed contract, and if he comes back with one, then it's on you. Because you're calling his bluff right now. But you're doing it in a nasty way to me, because doing it with the exclusive tag, to me is, we don't believe you can get one, but just in case you can, we're just going to lock you up so you can't go find that one. Like, that to me is like, look, I'm very much against a lot of the salary structures and some of the CBA stuff and some of the stuff that's been agreed upon by the NFLPA. This right here is the most clear example of, even if we think you can get it, we don't want you to get it. So we're going to lock you into the salary so you got no choice. You got no choice. Because the non-exclusive tag only benefits teams in the front end in terms of you only get to pay him, you see this amount here, 32.4 mil, as opposed to 45. But then it extends the window to negotiate a long-term deal. So if you feel you're close to getting that long-term deal, then you could do the non-tag. You could do the non-exclusive. And then if, the deal goes bad or both sides can never agree, then you could flip them and get 2 firsts for them. But in regards to this, man, like I really feel as though the Ravens should do the non-exclusive. Go get your 2 firsts. Go get 2 firsts from the Falcons. Now, with Lamar, Drake London, Cal Pitts, all them RBs in a good old line, that pick is going to be, high teens into the 20s. But, if your front office is worth a damn, you could flip that. You could turn that into something. There's nothing wrong with having multiple picks in the first round. So it remains to be seen if that happens, but I really feel as though that right there could be something to keep an eye on, because whether or not they do that, I think the Ravens should do the right thing. And again, I know that's asking a lot because it's the NFL and it's sports and it's business. But even for them, I think it's good, because getting 2 firsts, you were probably going to get 2 firsts anyway for Lamar. But I mean, do you really want all these extra picks? Like, you would also have to give up. Maybe have to give up some pieces too. Like, they're like, no, just give me my 2 firsts and you can move on, bro. You found Arthur Blank wants to give you $250 guarantee. Fine, give my 2 firsts and have a nice day. Have a blast. Have a blast in the A. Go ahead. What's the negative to the Ravens doing the non-exclusive tag? You're guaranteed to get 2 firsts. Yes, you could potentially, if you negotiate right and you find a sucker of all suckers, maybe you could get more than that in a trade for Lamar. Maybe. That's not guaranteed. Maybe. This isn't the NBA. We could throw around 5 second-round picks left and right. Like, I don't think it's guaranteed that they're gonna find a team. The Rams went out there and said, F all them picks, and now look at them. They got that 1 chip, so it worked per se. But now look, salary cap hell. McVay was on the verge of retiring. Aaron Donald's been thinking about retiring, and now they're trying to move Jalen Ramsey. So, like, it's good for that 1 year when it works. But then what's the aftermath of that? I don't know. It'll be interesting. So, Suns, Mavs, back to the NBA. I don't want to get into the thing of playoff preview and all that type of stuff, but there was so much conversation about what this game was. Let's go to the screen. Suns get it done, 131-126 in a very entertaining game, clearly a high-scoring game. I believe if you took the over, you were good money there. But one team had Kevin Durant and the other team didn't. That's really what it comes down to in terms of analysis. Like, if you really want hard-hitting analysis from this game, like, cool story, bro. But really what it comes down to is, Booker taking the most shots, which is not surprising. But KD, 12 of 17, and he gave you almost a 40 piece. The key for him was getting to the line. And there's been a lot of conversation about how much Kevin Durant has left. And I'm very much in the camp of Kevin Durant has a lot left, but I think he's a cheat code as your number 2. Like, I know Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, like, look at the shots. Devin Booker took 25 shots, Kevin Durant took 17. And again, if you watch the game, they were orchestrating a lot of the offense through D-Book. He's still the lead guy. But Kevin Durant's your number 2? Scary hours. Scary hours. Now, you have the point fraud here. And we won't get into him punching Pat Bev last week. Didn't have a chance to bring that up here on the stream, but your man's punched Pat Bev. And no one said a word. No one said a word. But this is going to be the issue, if any, for your Phoenix Suns. It's this bench. This bench, Torrey Craig is okay. He had some good run with the Nuggets a few years ago. T. Ross, Orlando Magic legend that he is. Damian Lee. I mean, there's some guys here, but if anybody in this top four, in this big four gets hurt, it's a wrap. I truly believe that. If any of these big four gets hurt, except the point fraud, because Cam Payne has filled in nicely throughout his tenure with the Suns while they've had the point fraud. So outside of okay, let's call it what it is. The real big three, because the point fraud is not really, come on. But in terms of the big three, KD, Book, and Ayton, if any one of these guys gets hurt, there is nothing to replace them. Nothing. Ayton gets hurt. Who are you bringing off this bench? Bismack? The Mac? D Book gets hurt. Who starts? T Ross or Torrey Craig? And KD, same dudes. T Ross, Torrey Craig? Those three guys need to stay healthy. They can't get any kind of injury to any one of these guys. Do we want to talk about Book versus Luka? Book did some chirping late in the game. Luka didn't take too much. He didn't take too kindly to it. Had some things to say in the post game. Said, don't talk when there's only 3 seconds left. You didn't say nothing the whole game. But now at the end of the game, now you're talking. But 8 for 23 for Luka. 1 of 9. Him and Kyrie had the 40 pieces a couple of nights ago, and even here they had 30 pieces, but you can't do this. You can't do this well. Do we have time to get the shot chart? Let's see if we can find the shot chart. Yep, there we go. Shot chart. Love Basketball Reference. All players. No, that's Phoenix. We want Dallas. Luka. Okay. Man. Let me get this squared up for y'all. All right. So, obviously, green is shots that he made. The red X's are shots that he missed. So, let's take a gander, right? So, this one doesn't really count end of the second quarter, first quarter, fourth quarter, at the end of the game, first quarter, third quarter, third quarter. So, where was the fourth quarter shots for Luka? You can't have this, okay? Because this one was at the end of the game, so we're not counting this. There were no shots from the outside. No shots whatsoever. This is not the type of production you want from a guy that's supposed to be your star. What about Kyrie? Fourth quarter. Look where the shots are. These shots are 25, 26 feet out. Again, I don't know what to expect of this Dallas Maverick thing, but it's been mid. To keep it a buck with you, it's been mid. All of these shots from Luka, missing shots in the paint. These are supposed to be bunnies for him. Anything in the restricted area, bunnies. It's all supposed to be bunnies for him. And then outside, I wonder if all of these were contested. Surely some of these could be contested, but it's not like that Kyrie game from what was that, 2 Sundays ago against the Lakers where he just kept missing wide open threes. But this Maverick thing, the West is still available. The Phoenix thing could be a thing. Phoenix, Denver seem to be on the collision course, right? And if any of those want to check in for the Ja Morant stuff, going to be recording episode of my podcast, the DCMD podcast. Link for that is in the description. We're going to get into the Ja Morant stuff there. Talked about it a lot last week. There's a clip on the channel is here as well, just in terms of the ins and outs of what we knew up until that point when the story from the Washington Post broke. Now, though, that we have way more information, now that we had the IG stuff from over the weekend, we're going to get into it, real big deep dive on the DCMD podcast, so be sure to check for that. But this Western Conference, Phoenix will overtake Sacramento. And with Memphis and the uncertainty around Ja Morant, and they just got injuries all over the place, that could be a problem. Phoenix will probably catch the 2 seed, right? I don't think they won't catch the Nuggets unless the Nuggets go on a tremendous slide. But even still, I think it's tough. Making up 10 games of the loss column, that's tough. But I think they'll overtake the Grizz. After that, Like, what are we talking about? Like, seriously. Warriors lost to the Lake Show with no Braun. AD stepped up. Habitual nut hitter was hurt. Steph came back. I mean, like the Warriors thing, the T-Wolves and Ant-Man, do you believe? The Mavs, we've seen them be an enigma. The Clippers finally win a game with Russie. There's a lot of mid in this West. It really might just be Denver, Phoenix, and if the Lakers could get Braun back at some point, then Braun. Those are the only three teams I would trust. I don't think this is Golden State's year. They're certainly dangerous. I just don't believe that they can just wave a rabbit out of a hat. Like I don't see it. I don't see it. I can't bring myself to drink that Kool-Aid again. I did last year. I snuck and put a futures bet in on the Warriors and it hit. I did it in December when they were like, 13th in the West. And everyone was like, oh, it's over. I'm like, we'll see. I'll take a little small bet. This year I've placed a similar bet. I won't reveal who that is, but it's a team that's still in the mix. They don't look like they're in the mix, but to me, they're still in the mix. So there's a lot of ways you can go with this, but the West to me is still wide open. This is a 3-team conference. Denver, Phoenix, I still think the Lake Show, some still think the Clippers, and some still hold truth with the Warriors. So, it's on who you believe, but there's a lot there to figure out. But Suns, Mavs, a tale of two teams. Phoenix, Kevin Durant, the most plug-and-play player probably in the history of the NBA. No one is that good that you could just flawlessly work him in to any offense. It's just incredible what you're able to do with a guy that is a top-tier weapon of all time. He's a top-tier weapon. He can roll out of bed in any offense, in any era, and give you a 40-piece. Any offense, any era. I mean that. I don't get into the whole era talk thing. I really despise those debates and those conversations because they really just don't make sense. But individual players in their games, you can do a better job of projecting how they would fit in certain eras, and no better player of this era can I see dominating in other eras in those rule changes and stipulations more than Kevin Durant. Not even Braun. No, it's Kevin Durant. Any system. Slow, walk it up, Kevin Durant's fine. You want to do the D'Antoni stuff with the Suns from a few years ago? He'll fit right in there. Pick and roll heavy, he can do that. 3-man weave, he can do that. ISO, he can do it all. So being able to go get him and have him just kind of be the second guy. Doesn't even have to be the lead guy. This isn't the Warriors. In the Warriors, he was the lead guy. And he was more specifically, he was the closer. He dotted Braun's eyes each time. Okay? Dangerous. If you haven't placed a bet on Phoenix, you might want to hurry up and do that. You might. I can't do it for point fraud reasons. I can't put it in my heart to put my hard-earned bread on the point fraud winning a championship, but by all means, go ahead and put a futures bet in. Okay, well, that will wrap it up here. Glad I was able to come on here and give y'all an hour. Still not sure what happened to the Elon app. Just crashed on everyone. I thought it was just me, but I went on and I was able to see some other tweets of people saying, yeah, like all my windows just crashed. All my Twitter tabs just crashed. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me. So I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully it's back up for tomorrow because they do lean heavily on the Elon app on the desktop to kind of show y'all and talk to y'all as I'm showing y'all what I'm looking at. So hopefully we'll get that figured out. I appreciate all those who pulled up. If you haven't already, hit that like button, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. I'll be here again tomorrow. May change up the times later in the week, just kind of trying to navigate on what's the best window to continue to bring this, to have people be able to pull up, whether you're in the comment section or whatnot. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop those as well. I'm thinking maybe 3 o'clock. I'm not sure. I thought 12 was good because people are on lunch breaks, things of that nature, but we'll see. We'll see. But either way, I will always put out clips from, segments of the stream, stuff that I think hits, and we'll take it from there. So for Sam D, I'm Sam Deuce Jr. This has been, okay, thought I saw a text come through. This is Timeline T, live. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.